Crestline.
If monkey jumps when the tree is now closed, monkey will break legs.
They used 18 members to impeach a governor instead of 22 members.
The political show that dares to go deeper. Crestline brings the voices, the verdicts, and the vision that shapes our future. Join Rayo, Akinsowon. Tough questions, real answers, no filters. Crestline, where politics picks. From the corridors of power to the cries on the streets, from broken promises to bold reforms, one show rises above the spin. Crestline.
If monkey jumps when the tree is now closed, monkey will break legs.
They used 18 members to impeach a governor instead of 22 members.
The political show that dares to go deeper. Crestline brings the voices, the verdicts, and the vision that shapes our future. Join Rayo, Akinsowon. Tough questions, real answers, no filters. Crestline, where politics picks. From the corridors of power to the cries on the streets, from broken promises to bold reforms, one show rises above the spin. Crestline.
If monkey jumps when the tree is now closed, monkey will break legs.
They used 18 members to impeach a governor instead of 22 members.
The political show that dares to go deeper. Crestline brings the voices, the verdicts, and the vision that shapes our future. Join Rayo, Akinsowon. Tough questions, real answers, no filters. Crestline, where politics picks. From the corridors of power to the cries on the streets, from broken promises to bold reforms, one show rises above the spin. Crestline.
If monkey jumps when the tree is now closed, monkey will break legs.
They used 18 members to impeach a governor instead of 22 members.
The political show that dares to go deeper. Crestline brings the voices, the verdicts, and the vision that shapes our future. Join Rayo, Akinsowon. Tough questions, real answers, no filters. Crestline, where politics picks. From the corridors of power to the cries on the streets, from broken promises to bold reforms, one show rises above the spin. Crestline.
If monkey jumps when the tree is now closed, monkey will break legs.
They used 18 members to impeach a governor instead of 22 members.
The political show that dares to go deeper. Crestline brings the voices, the verdicts, and the vision that shapes our future. Join Rayo, Akinsowon. Tough questions, real answers, no filters. Crestline, where politics picks. From the corridors of power to the cries on the streets, from broken promises to bold reforms, one show rises above the spin.
This is Crestline, where politics speaks. Tonight, we examine the critical role of identity management in Nigerians' fight against insecurity, terrorism, and cybercrime. The National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, stands at the center of this challenge. Is it living up to its mandate? Good evening and welcome to Crestline. I'm Rayo Akinsowon. Across the world, effective identity management systems are central to national security and development. From preventing terrorism to combating cybercrime and ensuring financial integrity, a reliable national database is non-negotiable. In Nigeria, that responsibility rests squarely with the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, which manages the National Identification Number, the NIN. But the question remains, is NIMC truly living up to its mandate? And joining me tonight to explore this pressing issue is Dr. KAYODE ADEGOKE, Head of Corporate Communications, and Dr. ALVAN IKOKU, Director of Strategy, the National Identity Management Commission. Gentlemen, you're welcome to Crestline.
Thank you,
Thank
Rayo.
you so much, and thank you for having us here.
All right. It's very sensitive, and we just have to ask you because are you up to your mandate talking about? So we are setting the stage now. Let's begin with context. Nigeria has faced recurring challenges with terrorism, banditry, and cyber-enabled crimes in countries where identity systems are robust. Criminals have fewer places to hide. For our viewers, can you outline what exactly NIMC mandate is and how it connects to safeguarding national security? I want to start with Dr. ADEGOKE.
Okay, I'm going to answer the question straight. NIMC has not only lived up to the achievement of its mandate, NIMC has even surpasses this mandate. You know, NIMC mandate is to hold, operate, and manage the national identity database. And by extension, there are other associated mandates, which include the enrollment and issuance of the national identification number to Nigerians and legal residents. Also, the issuance of the general multipurpose cards. Also, the management of a centralized national identity database. Also, the harmonization and integration of existing databases in the country to the national identity database. NIMC, by the act that established the commission, is the foundational identity management organization in Nigeria. For the purpose of enlightenment, we have two types of identity. We have the foundational and the functional. NIMC is to provide the foundational identity upon which the other functional identity rests on. For instance, if you are not to drive, you are not expected to get a driver license. If you don't want to travel out of the country, you might not need the Nigerian passport.
Correct.
If you don't want to vote, for instance, I know it is compulsory, universal adult suffrage, you might not register for INEC. If you don't want to, for instance, you don't want to register your company for CAC, you might not need the CAC number. But for NIN, the NIN is a foundational identity, which is compulsory and a requirement for every Nigerian, irrespective of your age. Whether you are 0 years, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 5 years, 10 years, 20, 70 years, it is expected of you to get your national identification number. And whatever services you want to access through other government agencies or the private sector, you must present your NIN, and that NIN must be verified. In the course of the discussion, I'll begin to tell Nigerians what we have achieved, most especially under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, and also the Smart Working Director General, Chief Executive Officer of the NIMC, Engineer Dr. Abiso Ekuka Odushote. I can tell you that since the coming on board of the DG in 2023, NIMC has achieved a lot, in fact surpassing its set targets. And I'm going to expatiate on that in the course of the program. First and foremost, like I said, I must give credit and kudos to the father of the nation, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. His support for NIMC is immeasurable and immense, and he has been able to support us in the drive to achieving our mandate, and we must thank him. And also the Honorable Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tudiojo, who has also been of strategic and immense support to the Commission in the last 2 years of the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Honestly, I must give it to the Minister of Interior, what he has been able to do in terms of the international passport. We know the bottleneck. And I want to, this follow-up question to Dr. IKOKU now. You know, we experience bottlenecks around the country. I remember then when we were having this NIMC, you want to register, a lot of queues and all that. Do we still experience those things across the country? Because today also I will allow people to call in towards the tail of the program. In case you have any challenges or whatever, we have people at the helms of affairs here to really address your challenges. So talk about the bottlenecks, the operational. You're in charge of strategy. Let's look at the way you started.
Thank you very much, Rayo. Any agency that does not face challenges will probably be an agency in heaven, where perhaps everything is perfect. But we're an agency that have responded much more proportionately to the challenges that we have faced. And have we faced challenges? Did you narrow down to one, the bottlenecks that people face when they want to register enrollment, what do you call it, crowds in our centers and all of that? Yes, we acknowledge that, but we've responded appropriately. It's now the thing of the past. I would actually want to challenge you or any Nigerian to point out any of our centers where that may be existent. It doesn't exist again. It's now a thing of the past because of the response that we have put in place. We not just enroll Nigerians for the national identification number, we also have licensed partners who help out in that regard. We've since revalidated them and they come out even stronger. They've deployed their resources, let me just say, leveraging on the strength of the private sector. And we have a goodly number. We have thousands of systems out there, both in Nigeria and in diaspora, carrying out enrollment for the issuance of NIN. So that is now the thing of the past, something that is very solidly behind us. There are some other of our services that also occasioned the crowds you would see in our centers in years past. Our services such as the modification, when people need to update their data, which is in the National Identity Database, they need to do what is called modification. The response now is amazing, one of well thought out innovation. We now can carry out modification via self-service. You can actually sit in the comfort of your home and carry out this modification. You don't even have to come to an NIMC center to do so. So, I mean, I think that if that is good enough response, not so much because I'm a NIMC, but because that is the reality of our time. Okay, thank you.
All right, I really appreciate what you've achieved so far, but gentlemen, I don't want us to deviate from the main topic. Okay. We want to talk about the national security, national identity, which is very, very important. And let's talk about the security in Nigeria as we speak. And it has to do with our national identity. Now, critics argue that despite years of NIN enrollment drives, Nigerian insecurity remains unabated. The question whether identity management has had any real impact in curbing terrorism, kidnappings, and cybercrime. How do you respond to that? I'm sure I want to get responses from both of you, but let me start from you.
Okay, well, I must say that NIMC has done excellently well in that regard, especially with cooperation and collaboration with relevant security agencies. And you will recall that a few years down the lane, NIMC and NCC will enter into collaboration whereby the NIN-SIM linkage, whereby before every SIM card holder must link the NIN with the SIM. Now, this is a strategic security effort. And let me say this, you know, security is not something you see in the marketplace. I must commend our security agencies, most especially the Office of the National Security Advisor. We are working with them, we are working with DSS, working with the Nigerian Police Force, working with the NCCC, working with other relevant security agencies. And you see, Nigerians, if you can recall, prior to the coming on board of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we were having a series of issues of security all over the country. But now you will see that most of those things are things of the past. Why? Because the security agencies, they've been able to use effectively the NIM in curbing issues of, like you said, kidnapping, terrorism and so on and so forth. But we can't just sit here and begin to tell Nigerians, oh, the strategy behind it, this is what we are doing. You know, security is something that you have covert operations. It's not something that you release out there. But I can tell you confidently that NIMC, especially under Engineer Dr. Abiso Ikoka, in the last 2 years, we've had what I call robust and immense relationship with the security agencies. And that is why you will see recently, it was last week, I think ASO TV was invited, where our working relationship with the NIMC, that's the National Cybercrime Center, where a lot of Nigerians, or some Nigerians, sorry, were apprehended in the course of siphoning or extorting Nigerians. Also, some of them, some sites were actually deleted by the NIMC. And these are some of the things we've been doing in the last 2 years, and so on and so forth. But I can tell you that we've done a lot. Nigeria should be assured that when it comes to security matter, NIMC and the relevant security agency, we are collaborating. And they should not worry. They should just look down the lane. What we have achieved now is more than where we were in the past. And like Dr. Alvan said, yeah, there are challenges every day, but ours is to find the relevant strategy to be able to overcome those challenges, and we are doing that, and we will continue to do that.
Doctor, I want you to respond. I want to have your own opinion concerning the how you've been able to curb NIMC, been able to be instrumental in curbing insecurity in Nigeria.
Rayo and Nigerians, sorry if I let you down, okay? I'm not going to give you those details.
Okay.
For very obvious reasons, okay? But if you were hosting the security agencies on your show, and they want to talk about those strategic details, oh, fine and good, but I don't think it's in our place to talk about it. All I can assure you and Nigerians is that so much has been done. There's been a lot of wins. Yes, crime may seem to be surging, but crime is also being curbed, okay? Should we, for instance, go on air and actually reel out the strategy in solving those crimes, don't you think that we would be going back to those crimes? People take advantage of it, so it's not something I would want to talk about at this point, but so much, when I mean so much has been done in collaboration with the security agencies to curb crime. Every single country that has a challenge of crime, and there is absolutely no country on earth that doesn't have a challenge of crime. These are the things that are in place that they used to solve it. So ours will not be an exception. We're going about solving it. Don't forget that the data of Nigerians in the National Identity Database, that we capture it using 3 modalities, okay? Your face, your fingerprint, and your iris. We are calibrated to use iris as well. So we can determine the exact identity of every single individual. Notwithstanding that ours is not a criminal database, but a civil database. But notwithstanding, it has brought so much succor and helped the security agencies to do their work better. So if you invite them on the show, and they feel it's testimony time to share with you what he has done. Kudos. I'll applaud from
yes, Dr. ADEGOKE, I appreciate the way you answered that question, but I want to ask you, although I'm very sure you don't want to tell us the strategy that is involved in curbing insecurity in Nigeria. I mean, using through your commission, because you're a strategist, which is okay. And I want this. It's just a follow-up question. Honestly, I want to ask you this: why don't we have a unified database in Nigeria? We have driver's license. We have. What is it that they use in bank now? What is this? What's this? We have NIN. We have all kinds of, data, whatever, in Nigeria? Why don't you have a unified one whereby it will cover all, maybe in health sector, in education, in transportation? You should have a unified database. We have different entry points. At the banks there, you have to register. In school, you have to register. NIN, you have to register. There, if you ask me in my wallet, I have 3 different kinds of, identification and all that. So why don't you have a unified identity in Nigeria?
Okay, I would say we do. We actually do have. My colleague, Dr. ADEGOKE, has actually hinted at it earlier.
Okay.
So what needs to happen is that every single ministry, department, and agency of government, including the private sector concerned, need to come to a recognition of how they can perform their functional responsibilities much more effectively, leveraging on the national identification number, okay? When they come to that recognition and they come on board, they will enjoy the services of a foundational ID provider. Now, they also, especially thinking about cost saving, they also can help in capturing or enrolling the Nigerian citizen and legal resident, and eventually NIMC issues the national identification number. That can also happen, and is also happening in some instances, okay? Our now publicly affirmed relationship or collaboration with the Independent National Electoral Commission is starting off that way, okay? We would be at voter registration centers alongside them for now, and those who do not have a national identification number can just get to our booth and eventually enroll for the NIN, okay? So hopefully in the not too distant future, it becomes now an imperative for you to hold a voter registration card that you must of necessity have had a national identification number, just like the banks were bold enough to issue a circular by the supervising banking authority, the Central Bank of Nigeria. They issued a directive, a circular, that going forward, there was an effective date to that, and banks are in compliance, that all bank account holders must have a NIN, and banks are compliant to that. You can't also get a passport today without having a NIN. So it's little by little. So let me use this avenue to appeal to all the ministries, departments, and agencies to come on board. They don't know what they are missing out. Okay, we're also shoring up our infrastructure to ensure that it is robust enough to cater for all who will leverage on it eventually to render their own functional services. And it's going to be huge cost saving for the Nigerian government if that happens, okay? It's already happening in principle. By way of legislation, you will not hear of another national identity database. It's only one national identity database, and it is domiciled in the National Identity Management Commission. So we invite agencies of government to take advantage of that and leverage on NIMC or the National Identity database to render functional services to Nigerians. Now, I am not suggesting in what I've said that every single Nigerian has been enrolled and is in the National Identity database, but sometimes it is need driven. Like Dr. KAYODE said, if you do not have need for a passport, will you approach the immigration service? You're not going to do that, okay? So whatever is driving the need, whether it's an examination to enter college, like the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board does conduct annually, whether you desire to JACBA and you want to get a passport, that's fine. Whether you want to get health services and you need to be cleared by the National Health Insurance, I need to be cleared by the National Health Insurance Authority, it's all in that one pool. The pensioners also, of course, before now there's been a lot of misgiving in the pension industry before now. And to properly streamline things, okay, they are collaborating with the National Identity Management Commission to render their own functional services, which is pensions, okay? So please, let this be a clarion call, and I hope that Nigerians will accept and take it as a civic responsibility to come and roll for their NIN, just as I also hope that corporate entities in Nigeria, including government entities, who eventually want to render similar service will leverage on the National Identity Management Commission. So
I will take that question.
I think in addition, I just want to add something. As of today, we have over 125 MDAs that have been integrated or harmonized into the National Identity Database. And like you mentioned, you can see so many use cases. For instance, the UTME exam that holds every year, without the NIM, you can't even be registered for the exam. Look at Nail Fund. Without the NIM, loan cannot be disbursed to you. Look at Credit Corps. Without the NIM, you can't get credit from government. Look at CAC. Without the NIM, you can't do your business registration. Just like I mentioned, driver license, passports, and so on and so forth. Not only that, NIMC is also collaborating and harmonizing data of state government and the agencies. We have several state governments that have come on board. In addition to what Dr. Alvan said, we are driving to a point whereby the NIM will now be the single identifier. It's a step, and we have started. In fact, for us, like I said, we have done more than expected of us, and we'll get there.
Yeah, I must confess that in the last 2 years, NIMC, you have done a great job.
Thank you, sir.
I must confess, yes, I'm a living testimony of that. But before now, oh no, you have to think twice. Then in Ibadan, you have to like spend a whole day. Yes. No, I'm telling you, that's the bitter truth. Yeah. You have to spend a whole day for you to go and register, or you have to spend a week. Well, I'm sure the case is different now. And I want to give it to you that you have to do more of orientation, because a lot of people will say, no, they've given up already. That no, I don't think I have that strength to go and do any registration. But with all this that you are doing to tell the people that you have a seamless service, I'm sure Nigerians will be able to come on board to do more of registration. Okay. And then let's come to you with your achievement. I'm sure you have a target. So what's the target?
Okay, our target is to enroll all Nigerians and legal residents. However, like I told you, as of today, we have about 123, 124 million NIN, the data in our database. And what we are doing currently is we have a presidential mandate and initiative. We call it the world level NIN-driven enrollment. Now, what that means is that NIMC is in partnership with with NYSC to use core members to go to all the wards across the country, and we have over 8,000 wards. So what we want to do is to take enrollment directly to the people, so that tomorrow you won't say, oh, it's going to cost me XYZ amount of money to go. So you don't need to. For every ward in the respective state and local government, we will have a core member or two that will be stationed there to enroll Nigerians and legal residents in that place.
You're talking about rural areas.
Every areas across the country, all the wards in the country. So we call it world level driven enrollment. Now, in the next couple of months, we want to achieve at least 80 to 90% of our targets. NIMC is to enroll all Nigerians and legal residents. And just like Dr. ALVAN IKOKU said, even Nigerians in the diaspora, we are supposed to enroll them. And as of today, as part of what we have done, when the present administration came on board, we noticed something, like you said, of the Ibadan case. We didn't have enough system. So, but what the DG did was to add additional 2,500 enrollment systems. We injected that into the system across the country. Outside that, we revalidated the existing front-end partners. We brought them on board again, do the due diligence, and they also brought additional system. And as of today, we have over 12,000 NIN enrollment system in the country. So that has helped us to increase the number. And our target, like you said, in the next couple, maybe 1 or 2 years, I can assure you, we should be able to enroll all Nigerians. In the next, this is September, by October, we will commence the world enrollment system. So every nooks and cranny in the country, NIMC will cover them. Whether you are in Maiduguri, whether you are in Zamfara, whether you are in Oyo, Iseyin, Shaki, or wherever you are, we will cover you. A system will be deployed to the world for Nigerians to enroll. And for your information, we have reduced the bottleneck. Before, we have over 25, 30 field, but now it's just 10 field. So it's easier. And outside that, NIMC has also launched the pre-enrollment software, whereby you don't even need to go to our center first to avoid that bottleneck. At the comfort of your homes or offices, you can just pre-enroll.
So you have a self-service?
Yes, we have a service. You just pre-enroll, key in your data, submit. Once you just get to the center, it's just to take your biometrics and you go. So you don't spend more than 2-3 minutes. When the DG came on board, one of our cardinal points is to ensure the enrollment is seamless. The era of queue, like you mentioned, 2022, you will notice during that UTME between January and March, the crowd. But last year, you won't see that. This year, you won't see that. Because it's now a thing of the past. Because we've deployed more systems, we've commissioned more centers, we've brought in more people, we've brought in front-end partners to help us spread enrollment to every nooks and cranny. And with the world level enrollment coming on board through the use of the core member in partnership with NYC, we will achieve more. Now we have the 123 million, like I mentioned. Just what by December and next year, you will see it shooting up. So our target is between our next year, at least 80% of the populace, and within 2-3 years, we capture all.
Well, this is still Crestline. We're going to go for the short break. We're talking about NIMC, talking about our national identity as well as our national security. I want to encourage all Nigerians to enroll, for you to be part of that, how do we call it now, the part of the way to progress in Nigeria, whereby we want to have a unified database that is both in Nigeria and in diaspora. We'll be going for this short break, and when we come back, Crestline still continues. Please stay with us.
Crestline brings the voices to our future. Crestline, where politics brings the voices, the verdicts, and the vision that shapes our future. Crestline.